All right, guys, how we doing? Welcome to Vetted. Welcome Monday morning, or Monday afternoon, I guess I should say. Thank you guys for joining us. No podcast today. Unfortunately, the team has come down with COVID. It is spreading everywhere, y'all. I'm seeing a lot of people getting COVID, and it's pretty bad. And really, they could do the podcast, but their voice is gone. They're losing their voices. So I actually wasn't feeling too well myself over the weekend, but nothing too crazy, nothing that stopped me. Still got my voice. So anyway, we'll be back next week for a podcast. So I apologize for that, but I do have an amazing video today. You've seen the title, you've seen the thumbnail. This is exciting. So let's just jump into this, man, because I don't want to waste any more time. Right here, Michael Shellenberger. You might remember him from also reporting on David Grusch and his claims. He had an article come out after David Grusch and all of that, basically confirming a lot of what David Grusch said, like his sources. In fact, they went even further, right? Describing some of the craft and what they look like, and they got like claws for legs. And I don't even remember all that. I'll put a link to that article so you can check that out. But this is the article today we're going to be discussing. So let's look at this tweet from Michael Shellenberger here. Let me have a drink of my coffee. Yeah, I drink coffee in the afternoon, y'all. Okay. I lived in Europe for a while, so at like 3 p.m., you drink coffee. It's coffee time. Coffee. Listen to me. Anyway, okay, Michael Shellenberger right here. When a UFO, let's start over. Take two. When a UFO whistleblower, really, Patrick? Okay, here we go. When a UFO whistleblower told Congress in July that the government had retrieved alien spacecraft and biologics, many dismissed his claims. But now, dozens of whistleblowers have given testimony to Congress, the Pentagon, and the IC Inspector General corroborating his claims. So, he's got this article here, right? It just says dozens of government UFO whistleblowers, right? Say sources, right? Basically this, right? Despite the growing number of UFO, UAP whistleblowers, leaders, the military and intelligence community are fighting greater disclosure. So, all right, this is a little interesting, by the way, because so this is Thomas. He's a nominee for Inspector General of the intelligence community. He speaks at a hearing. Okay, this is just just a photo of this guy. So anyway, let's look at part of the article. It doesn't give the whole article because it's like blocked behind a paywall. And, I'm not really a fan of that kind of stuff. Put it out and let people pay you and support you for it instead of paying to get it, because you'll miss people that way. So anyway, all right, it doesn't cost anything to support us here. Now, granted, you might offer additional things behind a paywall, extra stuff, bonus material, whatnot, like Patreon stuff. And one day we'll probably do that too. But not like a main story, right? So anyway, he does put part of the article here, which we're going to read, and then basically says at the very bottom here, look, please subscribe now to support Public's groundbreaking reporting and to read the rest of the article. So let's start here. In August, shortly after the U.S. government, UFO whistleblower David Grusch gave testimony to Congress about crashed spacecraft and alien biologics, many observers wondered how much credence to put in his testimony. After all, Grusch is just a single individual. The other two individuals who testified before Congress were former Navy pilots who said they had no evidence of a government program to retrieve and reverse engineer spacecraft of exotic and apparently non-human origin. But at least 30 other whistleblowers working for the federal government or government contractors have given testimony or protected disclosure to the Office of the Intelligence Community Inspector General, the Defense Department Inspector General, or to Congress over the last several months, according to multiple sources interviewed by Public. That's interesting, right? So recently, right? When told that the whistleblowers had come forward to share information similar to that shared by Grusch with Congress, Mick West, a prominent skeptic of UFOs, said, "It'd be very interesting. You know, more people saying the same thing independently makes it more likely to be true." There you go, Mick West. Now, please check out our interview with Mick West on the channel. I'll put a link to that as well. And I actually have a new interview coming out with Mick West. I know I've been talking about it. I know it's coming. It's coming, I promise. But this one's a little different because we don't talk about UFOs. It's just getting to know Mick West. And I think that's going to help people understand who he is and maybe his motivations and where he comes from, his history. That's important to know someone. So anyway, and yet the Inspector General of the Intelligence Community, Thomas A. Monheim, on September 15th appeared to deny in a letter to Congress that his office was investigating these claims. So that's the guy in this picture right here. Monheim said that his office has not conducted any audit, inspection, evaluation, or review of alleged UAP programs within responsibility authority of the DNI that would enable a fulsome response. These ... there's more to that quote than more than likely. That's what that's for. So I'd be curious what else is in there. But the way Monheim worded his response suggests he gave himself some wiggle room. I agree, right? Within, because he says not conducted any within responsibility authority of the DNI. So that just means they may be doing it on the side or something. But anyway, Matthew Pines, a civilian intelligence analyst, noted last week that the official taxonomy for ICIG activities includes audits, investigations, inspections, and reviews. Is it curious that an investigation is not denied? The investigations division is structurally separate from the audit and inspections and evaluations divisions. The fact that dozens of whistleblowers have come forward is not evidence of extraterrestrial life, nor of a government conspiracy to cover up a retrieval or reverse engineering program. And not all the whistleblowers may be reporting evidence of UAPs. Some may simply be reporting illegal or unethical behavior related to UAP programs. Well, that's interesting. That would be evidence of UAPs, right? If they have, or okay, I guess they're saying UAP programs that studies it. So for instance, the program that David Grusch was a part of, right, with Jay Stratton, or ATIP or OSAP, right, or Arrow. But the sources who asked to remain anonymous and are all in a position to know told public that in addition to the whistleblowers reporting wrongdoing, between 30 to 50 government employees or contractors have gone to the DOD's All Anomaly Resolution Office, ARROW, to offer testimony about UAPs. That is interesting. Some witnesses, whistleblowers, are coming forward directly to ARROW, some to the DODIG, some to the ICIG, and some to Congress, said Nick Pope, a UAP expert who worked on the issue for the UK's Ministry of Defense. Excuse me. Check out our interview with Nick Pope. We have that as well in the channel. I'll put a link to that as well. Yeah, that's interesting. Many have speculated as to whether Grusch and other UAP whistleblowers or witnesses might be part of a U.S. government disinformation campaign. That's like Grusch being part, like if he wouldn't knowingly. Just that guy seems like a Boy Scout, you know. I just don't see him doing that and putting his whole life on the line, like Donnie Brasco style, right? Like I don't get it. David Grusch is Donnie Brasco. Like I just, you know, he went undercover. He's like becomes part of the disinformation campaign. Didn't mean to. I don't know that. I don't buy that. A former U.S. Air Force intelligence officer working at Kirtland Air Force Base in the 1980s through to the first decade of this century. What a weird way to put that. Why not put to the 2000s? Admitted to British journalist Mark Pilkington and others that he spread disinformation about UFOs with the aim of misleading civilian UFO investigators in order to cover up both U.S. military as well as non-human technology programs. And other people have admitted that. But experts interviewed by Public say it is unlikely that people waging a disinformation campaign would do it through the Office of the Inspector General, since doing so puts individuals at risk. Okay, real quick before we go on to the next thing. This part, right? So this former U.S. Air Force intelligence officer, he was probably putting disinformation in a very, sending it to ufologists and things like that. Not like going to journalists and having articles written and testifying before Congress, right? That's not how you do a disinformation. You stay in the shadow. You kind of throw a few things, right? That wouldn't make any sense. So did that happen? Yeah, I'm sure it did. I'm sure there was a lot of nonsense thrown around. Considering the broader context to include Grusch's allegations, previous reporting by Public, and the extraordinary legislation working its way through Congress, said Merrick von Rennenkamp, a former Pentagon appointee under the Obama administration, I find it hard to believe that so many individuals would open themselves up to significant legal jeopardy by willfully lying to inspector generals. Yeah, I mean, that is true, right? So knowingly giving false testimony to the ICIG is punishable by fines up to $10,000, imprisonment for up to 5 years, or both. If found guilty of lying to Congress, Grusch would face up to 5 years in prison. I mean, I agree. There's a lot of people, but with that said, that stuff happens, man. For instance, law enforcement, right? Police officers, and I'm a big supporter of police officers, but they will lie on the stand if they think it's the right thing to do. That has been proven time and time again. Look at my shirt. Free Melissa Lucio. Look that up. We covered that on our podcast, our other podcast, the Lone Star Plate. And actually, our podcast and our team was a part of helping her avoid her execution. She got to stay in her execution, and they're going to be opening up her case, right? Because of what? Prosecutors, police officers, judges who were just doing the wrong thing for a lot of people. So people that work for the government, or we think are there to protect us or protect our secrets, they are willing to do bad things. So, but I get this point, but I get that point, right? So many individuals, I get that, but that's just not enough for me. I think people would do those things if they thought money was there, right? People do all kinds of things if they think money is going to come their way, or if they think they're doing the right thing. So anyway, at the same time, the history of past government disinformation campaigns in general, and as they specifically relate to UAPs, involves the mixing of accurate information and inaccurate information, making it difficult or impossible to feel confident in understanding the meaning of fundamental elements of the phenomenon. That is true, right? How do we sift through this haystack? Stuff may look like hay, and we're looking through it, and it's not. That's not where the needle is, right? We're looking for the real hay, and that becomes difficult. I agree. People have said that to me, right? We have sources. We have people we speak to. Do they tell us the wrong thing? Are they feeding us stuff? I don't really think I'm that, well, clearly I'm not that relevant, or our team, for that to be happening, for someone to target us. But other people who are, more up there, why wouldn't people be going to McWest and be like, here's the truth, here's the stuff, that's who you would want to give disinformation and get him to switch, right? Because that would just be the ultimate thing. So anyway, all right. Tell me what you guys think in the comments. I'm really curious to read the comments on this stuff for sure. That reality and the need to prevent government officials from deliberately misleading journalists, policymakers, and the public make greater transparency and disclosure essential. Both UFO skeptics and believers agree. It's either that dozens of highly cleared officials are in the grip of an enduring, bizarre delusion, are witting participants to a broad scale and long-running psychological deception, or they are relying or they are relaying factual information on extraordinary covert programs. Said West, I can understand why people would think ufology is frivolous and a waste of government money, and we shouldn't be looking into it. But they don't think we should release the secret information about crashed alien craft, something everybody wants to see. See, that's the thing that people misunderstand about Mick West. He just wants the truth. I promise you, Mick West would be just as excited as you are if an actual alien craft was doted out and an actual alien body, right? Like, he would be just as excited as you are. I promise you. I don't know him that well, but I've had 2 very long conversations with him, and I've been interviewing people for years. Like, this is what I do. I do know pretty good at reading people. And yeah, I don't think he's bullshitting me when he says that. In fact, he would probably study it more than the majority of people watching this, to be honest with you. He'd want to know how it works. But anyway, enough of Mick West. So that's that art. There's more to the article. I'll put a link if you guys want to pay and go see the rest. I think that's pretty much, talks a lot about that. Right here, there are a lot of commenters expressing concerns that there's a government disinfo or distraction campaign underway. We are also concerned about that and address it directly at the top of the piece and throughout. Please read it before jumping to conclusions. Yeah. I'll say this. So this whole thing about government disinformation, it works both ways. For instance, remember Ken Klippenstein? He made an article about David Grusch and attacked him for his PTSD, and he called him a drunk and an alcoholic, and just dirty journalism, in my opinion. Again, military personnel who protect our freedom, right? And he comes out with this article attacking him, calling him, he called him a drunk, and he had to be corrected on that. And we're going to use that. He was trying to use that as a way to, not believe this guy, right? To sort of attack him. And guess where his sources were coming from? You guessed it. The government. Maybe they're feeding him disinformation. Did he stop to think about that? He didn't. He didn't. Right? So it goes both ways. There could be disinformation to push us away from the aliens and UFO, it being real, right? But yes, there could also be disinformation to protect our secrets. And they think that's a way to do it. But at this point, with the way things are, I just, sorry, I thought I heard something behind me. I just don't see that happening, right? With how public it is and all the different programs, NASA, Arrow, all these different people who are looking into this now. We got this new legislation potentially going to be passed, right, by Chuck Schumer. There's countless other things happening, hearings. It's just a lot going on here. I just don't see that being the case. But tell me what you guys think in the comments. I'm curious what you guys are going to say about this. It's interesting for sure. I think, again, David Grusch gave names and places, right? He put an X on the map for us, and we're not going to that X. Nothing else matters. If anything, to me, it's just more distraction for, we already got the thing we wanted. We wanted to know names, places, programs, people. That, let's go. What are we waiting for, man? I don't understand. And the more the government's like, nah, we're not going to go look at that. Why not? Or just come back and tell us, yeah, we went look, but we can't tell you what we found. It's national security. You don't even have to tell us the places. Just say you went to them. They won't even do that. It's again, if you're ever like, yeah, we should move past this. This is all BS. Why is there so much smoke, man? Why is there so much pushback? It can't be like our national security and like secret projects we're working on that have nothing to do with ET, right? Just like our own technology. I just don't buy that. Like, we're already doing that. We know that. We know that that's happening. That's no secret, right? That secret's out, right? That secret's out that the Manhattan Project was probably the first indication of that, right? That we work on things behind the scenes without telling people, and then it comes out later. So I'm looking forward to more people coming out. Again, there's supposed to be actual firsthand witnesses to come out who have worked on these programs, touched these things. If any one of them were ever brave enough to come out like David Grusch, that would definitely set things apart. And maybe that's what's happening behind the scenes, right? I mean, David Grusch just happened, right? So maybe they're waiting. I don't know. That's what some other people say. Jeremy Corbell, George Knapp. So we'll see. I'm curious what everyone's going to say in the comments. Let me know. I'll end the video here because there's really, what else is there, right? Again, I'll put links to all this so you can check it out and, see what you think. So, again, thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you tomorrow. Got another great video, a lot of them this week. So, a lot of stuff happening. We'll be covering a lot of stuff. So, anyway, thank you guys for the support and watching. Hit that like button, leave a comment, and if you love us, subscribe. As always, every day's a gift, y'all. All right, take care. Bye.